You're not bad at talking. You're overthinking every word. You don't struggle to talk to people. You struggle to stop thinking while talking. That's the real problem. Because every time you enter a conversation, your mind starts running faster than your words. What should I say? What if I sound weird? What if they judge me? And before you even speak, you're already exhausted. This is why you feel awkward. Not because you lack social skills, but because you were trying too hard to be perfect. You were trying to control every word, every reaction, every impression, and that pressure kills natural communication. Think about it. When you talk to someone you're comfortable with, you don't overthink. You speak freely. You laugh naturally. You don't care about being perfect. That's why it feels easy. So the problem is not your ability to talk. The problem is your fear of being judged. That fear creates overthinking, and overthinking creates awkwardness, because instead of listening, you're analyzing yourself. Instead of responding, you're planning. Instead of being present, you're inside your head. And when you're not present, you disconnect. That's when conversations feel forced. That's when silence feels uncomfortable. That's when you start thinking, I'm bad at talking. But you're not. You're just distracted by your own thoughts. Here's something important to understand. People are not focusing on you as much as you think. They're thinking about themselves, their words, their image, their insecurities, just like you. So the pressure you feel is mostly created by your own mind, not reality. Now imagine this. What if you stopped trying to impress? What if you stopped trying to say the perfect thing? What if you just focused on the moment? Suddenly, everything becomes easier, because conversation is not about performance, it's about connection. And connection happens when you're real, not perfect. You don't need clever lines, you don't need perfect timing, you don't need to be funny all the time. You just need to be present. That means listening. Actually listening, not waiting for your turn to speak, but paying attention. Because when you listen, you naturally respond. And when you respond naturally, conversation flows. Now let's break something important. Awkwardness is not silence. Awkwardness is resistance. When you resist the moment, it becomes uncomfortable. When you accept the moment, it becomes normal. Silence is not your enemy. It's part of conversation. Confident people don't panic in silence. They stay calm. They don't rush to fill every gap. They allow space. And that makes them feel more natural. But overthinkers, they panic. They think silence means failure. So they rush, they say random things, and that creates more awkwardness. So instead of fighting silence, learn to be okay with it. Pause, breathe, then speak, slowly, naturally. Because confidence in conversation is not about talking more, it's about talking comfortably. Now let's talk about a simple shift. Stop focusing on yourself, start focusing on the other person. Instead of thinking, how am I doing? Think, what are they saying? What do they feel? What can I ask? This shift changes everything, because now you are not performing, you are connecting. And connection removes pressure. When you are curious, you stop being nervous because curiosity replaces fear. So ask simple questions, listen carefully, respond honestly. That's it. You don't need anything more. Now understand this clearly. Social skills are not talent. They are trained behavior. Every conversation is practice. Every interaction is growth. Every small step builds confidence. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. Because the more you interact, the less you overthink. And the less you overthink, the more you become natural. And one day, you realize something powerful. You are no longer forcing conversations. You are flowing in them. And that's when everything changes.
You're not bad at talking. You're overthinking every word. Let's go deeper. Because overthinking in conversations is not random. It follows a pattern. And if you understand that pattern, you can break it. Every time you talk to someone new, your brain goes into evaluation mode. It starts scanning. Do they like me? Am I saying the right thing? Am I being interesting enough? This constant evaluation creates pressure, and pressure creates hesitation. That hesitation is what makes you feel awkward, not your words, not your personality, just that pause created by doubt. Now, here's the truth. Conversation is not a test. No one is grading you. There is no perfect answer. But your brain treats it like an exam. It wants everything to be correct. And because of that, it slows you down. It filters your thoughts. It edits your words until nothing feels natural anymore. This is why simple conversations feel difficult, because you are trying to control everything. But control is the problem. The more you try to control, the more unnatural you become. Real conversations are messy. People pause, people repeat, people say imperfect things, and that's normal. That's human. But when you try to remove all imperfection, you remove flow. So instead of controlling everything, you need to allow imperfection. Say things even if they are not perfect. Pause if you need to. Laugh if something feels awkward. Because that's real, and people connect with real, not perfect. Now let's talk about something important, your body language. Most people focus only on words, but communication is more than words. Your posture, your eye contact, your tone, these things speak louder than what you say. If your body looks nervous, your words will feel weak. If your posture is strong, your words will feel confident. So before you fix your words, fix your presence. Stand straight, relax your shoulders, maintain soft eye contact, speak slowly. These small adjustments change how people see you, and more importantly, how you feel about yourself. Because your body influences your mind, not just the other way around. Now, here's a powerful shift. Stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested. Most people try too hard to impress. They think they need to say something amazing, something funny, something smart. But that creates pressure, and pressure kills confidence. Instead, focus on the other person. Ask questions. Be curious. Listen deeply. Because people love talking about themselves. And when you give them that space, they feel comfortable around you. And when they feel comfortable, you feel comfortable. That's connection. And connection removes awkwardness. Now let's address fear of judgment. This is the root problem. You are afraid of being judged, of being seen as awkward, of being rejected. But here's the truth. Judgment is unavoidable. No matter what you say, someone might judge you. But that doesn't mean you stop talking. Because silence doesn't protect you, it limits you. And the more you avoid situations, the stronger that fear becomes. So instead of avoiding judgment, you need to accept it. Not everyone will like you. Not every conversation will be perfect, and that's okay. Because your goal is not perfection. Your goal is progress. Every conversation you have is practice. Every mistake you make is improvement. Every awkward moment is growth. And over time, those awkward moments become fewer. Because your brain adapts. It becomes familiar. And familiarity creates comfort. That's how social skills are built. Not in theory, but in repetition. Again and again. Until it becomes natural. Now imagine this. You walk into a conversation, your mind is calm. You're not overthinking, you're just listening, responding, being present. That version of you is not far away. It's trained, built through small steps, through consistent exposure, through choosing action over avoidance. So from now on, stop analyzing every word. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop waiting for the right moment. Just speak, even if it's simple, even if it's not perfect, because that's how it starts, and that's how it grows.
You're not bad at talking. You're overthinking every word. Let's bring this into real life, because understanding is not enough. You need to apply it in actual conversations. Right now, your biggest problem is hesitation. That small delay before you speak. That moment where your mind says, wait, think first. And in that moment, you lose flow. Confident people don't eliminate that moment, they shorten it. They don't give their mind too much time to interfere, they respond faster. Not perfectly, but naturally. And that's the key. Speed creates flow. Overthinking destroys it. So your first training rule is simple. Respond faster. Not rushed, but without overanalyzing. Say the first natural thing that comes to your mind, even if it's simple, even if it's not impressive, because simple keeps the conversation alive. Now let's talk about another problem, running out of things to say. This is something almost everyone fears, but here's the truth. You don't run out of things to say, you run out of confidence to say simple things. Because your mind rejects normal conversation. It thinks everything needs to be interesting. But real conversations are built on simple topics. What did you do today? How was your day? That sounds interesting. These are not special, but they work because they keep the flow going. So stop trying to be unique in every sentence. Focus on keeping the conversation alive. That's your goal. Now let's go deeper. Every conversation has two parts, talking and listening. But most people only focus on talking. They ignore listening. And that creates pressure, because now you feel responsible to carry everything. But conversation is not your responsibility alone. It's shared. So use the other person. Let them talk. Encourage them. React to what they say. That creates natural flow. Now here's a powerful technique, the expand method. When someone says something, don't just reply, expand it. If they say, I went to the gym today, you don't just say, nice. You say, oh, nice, what did you train today? Now the conversation grows. It continues naturally. You didn't force anything, you just extended it. This is how confident communicators talk. They don't create pressure, they create flow. Now let's talk about eye contact, one of the biggest signs of confidence, but also one of the biggest fears. Most people avoid eye contact because it feels intense, it feels exposing. But avoiding it makes you look unsure, weak, disconnected. So instead of avoiding it, train it. Start small. Look for a few seconds, then relax, then look again. You don't need to stare, just stay present, because eye contact builds connection, and connection builds confidence. Now let's talk about tone. How you say something matters more than what you say. If your voice is low and unsure, even a good sentence feels weak. But if your tone is calm and clear, even a simple sentence feels strong. So slow down your speech, speak clearly, don't rush, because speed creates nervousness and calmness creates confidence. Now here's something important. Stop trying to impress everyone. Because when you try to impress, you lose authenticity. You become someone else, and people can feel that. Instead, be real. Say what you actually think, not what you think sounds good. Because authenticity creates trust, and trust creates connection. Now let's talk about mistakes. You will say awkward things. You will have moments where conversation feels off. That's normal. Even confident people experience this. The difference is, they don't overreact. They don't panic. They move on. But overthinkers, they replay it again and again. They judge themselves. They analyze every word. And that creates more fear. So your next rule is simple. Let it go. Say it and move forward. Don't hold on to it, because confidence grows when you don't punish yourself. Now imagine this. You are in a conversation. You are relaxed. You are listening.
You are responding naturally. You are not overthinking. That version of you exists, but it needs practice, not perfection. Practice. Every conversation you have is training. Every interaction is growth. So don't avoid it, seek it. Because the more you expose yourself, the easier it becomes. And one day, you realize something powerful. You are no longer thinking about what to say. You are just talking. Naturally, freely, confidently. And that's when social skills become part of you.
You're not bad at talking. You're overthinking every word. There is a deeper reason why you feel awkward. It's not just overthinking. It's insecurity. The fear that you are not enough, not interesting enough, not smart enough, not confident enough. And that belief follows you into every conversation. It sits in the background of your mind, quiet but powerful, and it shapes everything. How you speak, how you react, how you see yourself. Because when you don't feel enough, you try to prove yourself. You try to impress. You try to say the right thing. But that effort creates pressure, and pressure destroys natural communication. Now think about this. Why are you so focused on being liked? Why does every conversation feel like a test? Because deep down, you are seeking validation. You want approval. You want to feel accepted. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's human. But when your confidence depends on others, you lose control. Because now, your mood changes based on reactions. If someone responds well, you feel good. If someone is quiet, you feel insecure. If someone disagrees, you feel uncomfortable. That's not confidence. That's dependence. Real confidence comes from something different. Self-acceptance. The ability to be okay with yourself, even if others don't fully approve, even if conversations are not perfect, even if you make mistakes. Because once you accept yourself, you stop proving yourself. And when you stop proving, you start relaxing. And when you relax, you become natural. Now let's talk about something powerful. Confidence in conversation is not about talking more. It's about feeling comfortable being seen as you are, without filters, without over-editing, without pretending. Because the more you hide, the more pressure you feel. And the more pressure you feel, the more awkward you become. But when you allow yourself to be seen, even with imperfections, something changes. You feel lighter, freer, more relaxed, and that creates better communication. Now here's something important. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need every conversation to go perfectly. You don't need to impress everyone. Because your value is not decided by one interaction, or one person's opinion, or one moment. Your value is internal. It comes from how you see yourself, not how others see you. And when you understand that, you stop chasing approval. You stop overthinking reactions. You stop fearing judgment, because now you are grounded, stable, confident from within. Now let's go deeper. There will be moments where conversations don't work, where things feel awkward, where connection is not there. That's normal. Not every interaction is meant to be perfect. Not every person will match your energy. And that's okay. Because confidence is not about controlling every situation. It's about staying calm, regardless of the situation. Not reacting emotionally, not overanalyzing, not blaming yourself, just accepting and moving on. Now imagine this version of you. You walk into a conversation. You are calm. You are not trying to impress. You are not trying to be perfect. You are just being yourself, listening, responding, smiling naturally. And even if something feels awkward, you don't panic. You don't overthink. You just stay present. That version of you is powerful, not because they say perfect things, but because they are comfortable with themselves. And that comfort creates confidence. Because confidence is not about controlling others. It's about controlling your internal state, how you feel, how you react, how you respond. And once you master that, conversations become easy, not because they changed,
but because you changed. Now your focus is not on how am I doing, it's on what's happening right now. And that shift removes pressure, removes fear, removes awkwardness, and replaces it with presence. And presence is the foundation of social confidence, because when you are present, you are real. And when you are real, you connect. And when you connect, confidence grows naturally.
You're not bad at talking. You're overthinking every word. At some point, you have to stop blaming yourself. Stop thinking you're bad at talking. Stop believing something is wrong with you. Because nothing is wrong with you. You were just never trained. No one teaches you how to talk to people. No one teaches you how to handle awkward moments. No one teaches you how to deal with overthinking. So you learned by avoiding, by staying quiet, by playing safe, by staying inside your comfort zone. And over time, that became your habit. But habits can change, and this is where everything shifts. Not when you learn more, but when you start doing differently. Because knowledge without action changes nothing. You already understand the problem: overthinking, fear of judgment, lack of confidence. Now it's time to act. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because confidence in conversation is built through repetition. Every time you speak, you improve. Every time you take a risk, you grow. Every time you face discomfort, you become stronger. And slowly, those uncomfortable moments become normal. What once felt scary feels easy. What once felt awkward feels natural. That's progress. But here's the key: you have to allow yourself to be imperfect, because perfection is the biggest enemy of communication. If you try to say everything perfectly, you will say nothing. If you wait for the right moment, you will miss every moment. So speak, even if it's simple, even if it's not impressive, even if it's not perfect, because real conversations are not perfect, they're real. Now let's be honest. You will still have awkward moments, you will still say things that don't land perfectly, you will still feel nervous sometimes. That doesn't mean you failed. That means you are growing, because growth is not smooth. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's imperfect, and that's exactly how it should be. Confident people are not perfect communicators. They are comfortable, imperfect communicators. That's the difference. They don't fear mistakes. They don't overanalyze everything. They move forward. And that's what you need to do. Now, imagine your future. You walk into any conversation, not with fear, but with calm. You speak without hesitation. You listen without pressure. You connect without trying too hard. That version of you is not far away. It's built through daily action, through small conversations, through repeated exposure, through choosing courage over comfort. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you don't even think about it anymore. You just talk, freely, confidently, naturally. And that's when you realize something powerful. You were never bad at talking. You were just stuck in your head. And once you stepped out of it, everything changed. So from this moment, make a decision. Stop overthinking every word. Stop waiting for perfection. Stop avoiding conversations. And start doing one simple thing. Speak. Speak more. Speak freely. Speak without overanalyzing. Because action breaks overthinking. And once overthinking breaks, confidence grows naturally, step by step, conversation by conversation, until it becomes part of you, not something you try, but something you are. And that's when your life changes, not just in conversations, but everywhere. Because when you can express yourself, you unlock opportunities, you build connections, you create impact. And that's the power of social confidence. So don't wait, start now. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable,
because that's where your transformation begins.